Hi everyone, Chris Wilkinson from AwesomeCGG in Londonderry, New Hampshire. Today, I'm going to be commentating over a gameplay video between me and our store owner, Jamie. Let's get right into it. Hello everyone, so today we're going to be taking a look at the match between me on the right and Jamie on the left. We are playing the Gardevoir V versus Victini V battle decks. At this point, we're just going to be kind of showing you how the game works, how the setup works, and take you through after you just learn the rules. So I'm playing the Gardevoir deck. It's going to be based around setting up a Gardevoir V and healing it every turn to get damage off of its attack, which does more damage if it has been healed that turn. And Jamie is going to be focused on discarding energy and getting them back from the discard pile, using Pokemon like Cinderace, which attach energy to itself from the discard pile when you retreat it. Additionally, my deck plays Dragapult, and Jamie's deck is playing things like Minccino, which allows it to draw cards for discarding energy and putting them into the discard pile. So here you see the basic setup of a game. We each draw 7 cards, and we each have a basic Pokemon in our hand. Actually, it looks like Jamie has a mulligan. So Jamie's going to reveal his hand to me that he has no basics. I'm going to mark that on the top of my deck with a die, and then Jamie's going to shuffle his hand in and draw a new one. So obviously you can't start the game without a basic Pokemon, so he is going to find one with his new shuffle. And I will get to draw a card for each time that he does it. So looking to be a pretty evenly balanced match here. The two decks were made to be played against each other. They're at similar power levels. And these are decks that you can just pick up and play off the shelf, and they're very useful for people who just learn how to play the game because they kind of give you a little taste of everything that there is to do in the Pokemon trading card game. So here we see Jamie. He's going to draw his new hand, and he does find a basic, so he will set up and he will put out his prize cards. I will draw for my mulligan draw, and we're ready to start the game. So Jamie will be going first. We did roll a coin, or roll a die rather, to determine that. And as he's going first, he's not going to be able to do much. No supporters to be played, so he's just going to attach an energy, and he's going to contemplate for a little while and pass. Now it's my turn. I do not have that restriction, so I get to do a little bit more. I draw a Gardevoir V for turn, which kind of allows me to, kind of be a little more liberal with my plays, and I decide to play my gym trainer and draw 2 cards. I want to get Gardevoir powered up as fast as possible, so I put it on my bench and I, decide to attach an energy to it. My strategy going into this game was to kind of send up attackers into my active spot to sort of absorb damage while I powered up my Gardevoir, and then eventually swing with a really powered up Gardevoir that hopefully would just kind of sweep the game for me. So that's my game plan going in, because Gardevoir wants to be healed, so you really only want one Gardevoir that will kind of go the distance. Jamie, on the other hand, wants to do little quick intervals of damage, and we're going to see that now with his Ninetales. So he's going to play an Evolution Incense to search his deck for an Evolution Pokemon, which is Ninetales. And it only takes 2 energies to attack, so it's going to be, off to the races pretty quickly. And my Dreepy does not seem long for this world, but we'll see how I end up recovering. It's important for the fire deck to not only be putting energies into play, but also in the discard, but it looks like Jamie is actually short on energy here. So that's definitely going to prove to be a challenge that he's going to have to overcome in this game. He's going to play a Hop. He's going to try and find some more energy cards, and unfortunately he misses again, which is a big advantage for me. It's going to allow Gardevoir to power up and get to the point where it's going to be attacking like I described earlier. And, again, that's sometimes the luck of the draw. These decks play like 15 or 16 energy each, and not drawing one there is just kind of an unlucky situation. So we're going to kind of laugh at Jamie's misfortune a little bit, and then Jamie is just going to attack me with Ninetales' first attack, which only does 20 damage. So now it's my turn again. I am thanking my lucky stars or whatever forces out there that my Dreepy didn't get killed. I'm going to attach to Gardevoir and play an Evolution Incense. Now, Evolution Incense is really good for setting up. Once you have your basics out on the field, it really lets you develop your board. I searched for a Clefable. So Clefable has the ability which says, once during your turn, if your active Pokemon has a Psychic Energy attached to it, you can heal 20 damage from it. So I'm going to be looking to set up multiple Clefables in order to heal my Gardevoir every turn and keep it alive. So as a means to that end, I play a Quick Ball. And I'm going to get another Clefairy here in order to continue setting up Clefables. And, at this point in time, I'm feeling pretty good about my board position. My Gardevoir is one turn away from being fully powered up, and Jamie is not drawing any energy. So, if I had to say, I think I'm doing pretty well here. But, you really never know how things are going to go, and you always want to make sure you maximize your chance to win, even if you feel like you're ahead. So with nothing else to do, I just send it over to Jamie. Now, Jamie's still not finding the energy he needs here. He continues to struggle. He contemplates. A lot of the supporter cards in his hand do not allow him to draw cards. You see a couple copies of Bead, which only lets you attach energy, but you already have to have it in your hand, so that doesn't really help him there. It's important to note, Jamie and I both take a good time to think about our actions, and Jamie just settles on another attack. And I finally send up my Gardevoir. Now it's my turn, and I'm ready to start attacking. So I put the final energy on my Gardevoir, and I don't have anything else to do, so I just attack for 120 damage. Now the thing about Gardevoir here is that if Gardevoir doesn't have any damage, it can't be healed. So if, he's not attacking me, then I can't use the full damage of Gardevoir's second attack, so I won't be able to hit that damage. But, 120 damage is already enough. Jamie only has a bunch of little basic Pokemon out, so it's going to be enough to take a knockout every turn until he gets something a little bit bigger. So Jamie here, he's playing a level ball, and, he's just kind of looking through his deck at this point to see what options he has to combat what I have going, and he lands on a Minccino. Minccino evolves into Cinccino, which has the Make Do ability, which allows you to discard a card from your hand and draw 2 cards. And this is a really critical support Pokemon that allows you to not only draw cards from your deck, but get rid of cards that you have no use for at the time, which is a very valuable thing to do. So he's going to bench the Minccino, he's going to play another level ball, and then he's going to search his deck for, I believe, a Cinccino, because Cinccino also has 90 HP. And it'll allow him to kind of, I'm wrong, actually, he gets a Score Bunny. So he just wants to keep setting up his attackers, hoping that eventually he'll draw into energy and he'll be able to deal with this Gardevoir here. Another interesting thing to note is that Cinderace attacks for 190 damage, which is very powerful, and it is kind of out of range of Gardevoir if it isn't healed. So if he can do some chip damage to me that I'm not able to heal, or enough damage that I still have a couple damage counters on me, then he can just knock out my Gardevoir with a Cinderace. Although, with a Score Bunny on the bench, that is a couple turns away. So Jamie here is going to Boss's Orders up my Clefable, and he is conceding that he can't attack here, he really doesn't have anything to do, and he wants me to have another energy so that I can retreat my Clefable to continue with Gardevoir. So I play a Dan here. I lose the Rock, Paper, Scissors game, so I'm only going to draw 2 cards. But all I really need is an energy to keep myself going. And I'm just, trying to advance my board. I play a Great Ball. I just want to thin all the cards out of my deck that won't be useful for the late game. I pretty much just want to draw more energy, more supporters, more things to help me heal my Gardevoir and keep, kind of cruising the way I am. So like I mentioned, I do need to retreat my Clefable. I believe I have 1 energy left in my hand, but after that, if something happens where I can't move, or I get bossed up again, I will be stuck, so I have to be aware of that. Although both my bench Pokemon have 1 retreat, which is fortunate. So I do have the energy, I retreat, and I continue attacking with Gardevoir. So Jamie again, kind of in a bad way here, hasn't drawn an energy since the beginning of the game, and he promotes his Score Bunny. He draws, and I believe that was a Cinccino. Oh no, it was another Minccino, so that was a good one. He has the Cinccino in hand, and he evolves. That's going to allow him to trade away a Bead, like I said, a pretty useless card, and start attacking me with energy. So he does hit the fire energy off of Cinccino. He also hits a Hop, which is going to draw him 3 more cards. more energy hopefully, and he hits the Victini V. Now Victini is very powerful. His attack does 30 damage times the number of energy attached to both active Pokemon. And since my Gardevoir has 3 energies attached and Victini's takes 2 to attack, if Victini has the minimum amount of energy required, it's going to do 150, which isn't enough to knock out Gardevoir, but it's going to get him most of the way, and it's going to be something that I'm going to have trouble dealing with. Now, that's just the thing. You have to get multiple energies onto Victini, so I, have to make sure I deal with this Victini before I can amass a lot of energy. So, Jamie's going to switch here. He's going to utilize Victini's attack, which allows you to attach up to 3 energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Jamie only has 1 energy in his discard pile, but he'll take what he can get at this point. He's deciding where he wants to put the energy, and I think he lands on the Victini, yep. And that is his turn. So now I have the Gardevoir, and I can decide what to do. So I'm going to make an interesting play this turn where I know that if I have damage on my Gardevoir, I can knock out the Victini, because I do 200 damage after I've healed. And I'm scared of Cinderace, so what I do is I use a boss's orders, and I target Reboot and knock it out. This proves to be a play that I should not have made, but I'll get into that a little bit later as to why. So I take the Reboot, I knock it out, and this Victini is still fresh, has no damage on it. So he's going to bring it up, and he is going to start powering up. He's going to think a little bit. Obviously, he's probably going to use the Cinccino ability, and that's an important thing to note. Before you make any major decisions on your turn, you want to draw cards, because, your hand is information, and, you just want to have as much information as possible before proceeding with turns, or taking actions that you can't take back. So Jamie looks at the 2 cards he draws, he evolves into Reboot, and this is where the boss play is going to hurt me. So if Jamie attacks into me, he's not going to take the knockout, and he is going to die on the swing back because my Gardevoir is going to get healed, and then it's going to do 200 damage because of its attack. But I have only 1 boss's orders in my deck, and Jamie only has 1 in his, and I just used it. So what Jamie's going to do here is he is going to retreat his Victini, and he is just going to power it up, and he's going to wait until it has enough energy to knock out my Gardevoir in 1 hit. And this is a really smart play by Jamie. He knows that I have no recourse against this kind of play because I am out of ways to switch his active Pokemon. So he switches here, and he is just going to bide his time. He's going to keep attaching energy to the Victini. He's going to wait until he has enough energy to knock me out in 1 shot, which is 7, and we're at 6 combined energies between both Pokemon here. So I am not looking too good, and I am, kind of realizing what's going on, and I'm starting to not like it. Additionally, Jamie's going to play a Professor's Research, an extremely powerful supporter card, and he's just going to fill his hand with energy. He's going to get a Cinderace, and things are just going to start rolling for him. It's about this time in the game where I look at the board, I look at my hand, and I say to Jamie, I think I'm going to lose this game. And he said, I think so too. So it's an interesting way to prove, or just kind of a test of being able to determine the board state and see what you can do about it. And I have to commend Jamie. He made a very intelligent play here. But nonetheless, I continue on. I'm thinking about all my options, and I have drawn a Pokemon every turn of the game for the last 4 turns, which I can't do anything about. But my board state is such that I can't really advance it too much. So I just take a knockout on his Minccino, pretty inconsequential. He's going to power up his Victini, evolve into Cinderace, and now this Victini is doing enough damage, the Gardevoir is going to be knocked out in 1 attack. And I really have no good responses to this. I have a Clefable with 1 energy, and I have a Clefairy. I have not been able to heal my Gardevoir the entire game because it hasn't taken any damage, but it took enough damage to knock it out, so I'm still not going to get to heal it. So Jamie takes it, he goes down to 3 prizes. I promote my Clefairy because I think, well, maybe I'll draw some energy, I can power up my Clefable, but nope, I draw a Dracoloak. So I just pass, I have nothing to do. Jamie is going to continue to develop his board. He is fully set up. He has a Cinccino, a Cinderace, and a Victini. He has enough damage with the Victini already to knock out my Clefairy, so I would assume, yep, he's going to start powering up other Pokemon on his board, and he is just going to attack me for the knockout. Now, I promote Clefable, I look at my draw for turn, and I draw a Professor's Research. Now my hand at this point has 2 Dragapults, 2 Dracoloaks, and 2 Granbuls in it. So if I use Professor's Research this turn and I discard those Pokemon, I will pretty much have no attackers left for the rest of the game. So I'm in kind of a tough spot. I have 2 Snubbles in my hand, which I neglected to bench. So it was a little bit of an oversight on my part. But I bench them, and I know that I can't play this Research, or otherwise I'm taking all my attackers out of the game. So I bench it, and I'm deciding, I'm telling Jamie, man, this is a really rough position, and I'm just kind of thinking about what to do. I want to make sure that, even though I'm in a bad position, I, make sure I think about all scenarios, and I just end up, passing the turn. Jamie's going to draw. He's in a very dominant position here, and, things change really quickly. I had a Gardevoir fully powered up, and in a matter of 1 or 2 turns, I, went to losing. So Jamie's going to take another knockout, and I'm going to evolve into my Granbuls, and I pretty much have to play the Research here. Granbull's attack does take 2 energy, so no matter what, I'm really not going to be able to attack this turn, and even if I did, it's not going to be enough damage to knock out this Victini. Jamie has his last prize, and, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can, but it's looking pretty grim for me at this point. I find my Dreepies, which would have been nice to have earlier, but, what can you do? That's just the luck of the draw. I attach to my Dreepy, I pass, and Jamie retreats and attacks me with the Cinderace using its ability to attach 2 energies, and he's going to do 190 damage, which is going to be the game. Jamie's going to take his last prize here, and we are going to shake on a good game. So if you're interested in these battle decks, you can pick them up here at the store. They come out with them pretty reasonable, like every so often. There's going to be a Rayquaza one pretty soon. And I hope that this was a good look for you guys on how a game looks. And, this will be a good jumping off point to see what a deck looks like and get into building your own deck. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.